Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the West Ham Daily on West Ham Irons United. Thanks for joining. Lunchtime as usual, or just after lunchtime. And my thanks to Russ, because I always forget to mention my Hammers 11. You know, he does a show, he always mentions us. And when Anton comes on, he remembers to mention Russ's show, and I always forget. So, Russ, if you're watching, great show again. Thanks for handing over the baton, and I hope you're well, mate. So, West Ham United, so much to talk about, but I wanted to focus on the midfield, or some of the midfield that played against Burnley on Monday night, and specifically one particular person who I really thought his time was over at West Ham. And then when you sort of look at the masterclass he put in, the kind of performance he put in against Burnley on Monday night, you start wondering, well, maybe there's a future for this little player, the little jewel, as we once remember him by. Of course, Manuel Lanzini. I remember in my West Ham Weekly on Monday afternoon, I spoke about Lanzini because there was talk during the afternoon that perhaps Lingard might have been out injured, and I speculated, well, who's going to replace Lingard in the lineup? You know, and I talked about Ben Rama, I talked about Lanzini, I talked about Yarmolenko even. And I kind of gave Lanzini a very small chance of being able to replace Lingard. Now, how wrong was I that David Moyes was going to throw everyone on the pitch, including Antonio as well? And I was talking about Lanzini, and you know what a revelation he was when he first came to West Ham, the first season alongside Dimitri Payet in the 2015-16 season, and how great he was. And then when Payet left, Lanzini looked like he was taking over the mantle for a while. And then, of course, his injuries kind of put paid to that. But then we heard, you know, Lanzini himself talking about, you know, his prospects in this pre-season. He'd gotten over all his injuries, that he felt a lot better, a lot fitter, etc. But unfortunately for Lanzini, in the 34 games now that he played for West Ham, he only started in 3, and this was his 4th start of the season. Now, in the other 3, Lanzini played for around about 60 minutes and then was subbed. And this is the first game this season in the Premier League Lanzini has played the whole game. And what a revelation, and what a game the player had. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. Some of his stats: played the full 90 minutes, 94.9% pass success rate, 78 passes, of which one was a key pass. But the thing with Lanzini is the position he played, because I thought that when the announcement was made, I thought the lineup was going to be something like this. We knew, you know, the back line of 4 at the back, you know, with Ogbonna, we heard that was out, and Diop and Dawson came in, you know, as the 2 centre backs. But I thought that the midfield would sort of line up something like Souček, Lanzini, and Fornals, with Lingard and Benrahma supporting Antonio. So I was thinking myself it'd be roughly a 4-2-3-1, perhaps. But we were a little bit surprised that Lanzini actually played a lot deeper. And I think the formation, I mean, do correct me if I'm wrong, I think the formation ended up being something like a 4-2-1-2-1. And I'll explain why in a minute. Because we've seen Lanzini play in that position in the past. It's not the first time that he's played deep, and this is why I think it was a bit of a Moyes masterclass in midfield. I thought Fornals would play alongside Souček to give that kind of discipline in the middle of the park. But Lanzini played there, and like I said, it's not the first time Lanzini played there, but it suits his game, doesn't it? Because we always think in our minds Lanzini's a number 10, you know, he's there to kind of support further upfield. But what he did was, what Moyes used him in that position was, Lanzini could pick the ball up from deep and run with it, or pass it, you know, thread it through, a good passing ability, you know, threading the ball through, etc. Let's look at those stats again. 78 passes. I mean, picking the ball up from deep and passing it, you know, from deep, and with a let's call it a 95% success rate. You know, he could do that further back in midfield. He was able to pass it, you know, easy passes, short passes to the likes of Fornals or some of the other front players. And so it meant he could control the game. He can control the midfield. He can play. He could spray the ball around. And we kind of think in our minds, Declan does that, but Declan also gets stuck in. Or Noble does that. He's got a good passing ability. But we always complain about Noble being, the crab, always passing it to the side or passing it back. Whereas Lanzini was looking at passing it forward all the time. And by picking the ball up from deep, he was able to do that. And it was great. And does he have a future for West Ham? I mean, I've got to be honest. I was really dismissive of him. I said before the game in the West Ham Weekly on Monday afternoon, I think Lanzini's time is up. I think Lanzini won't get to play for West Ham again. It looks like he's on his way out. But when you look at what he did, the way he was utilised, Moyes has got another option, hasn't he? That he hasn't used that much this season. When we do have either the likes of Souček or Declan out, he's kind of tended to go, Souček's out. Well, Souček hasn't been out, but if Souček was out or Declan, as we currently know, is out, he's always had the tendency to go, I'll put Noble there. I'll keep it solid, and I'll put Noble alongside Souček. So he's not utilised that Lanzini role much this season. And like I said in the earlier, in the 3 other games that Lanzini started, Lanzini has been subbed after 60 minutes, whereas this game controlled the game completely. So that was part 1 of the masterclass of Moyes. Now, when I talk about my thinking, it was a 4-2-1-2-1. The reason why I'm thinking that is because although Fornals played a little further forward, he didn't play as far forward as you would expect for it to be a 4-2-3-1. I think what Fornals did, and we look at his stats in a minute, Fornals was put in the middle there in order to break up play further upfield. Where you normally think 2 holding midfielders would break up play in the middle of the park, like I thought it would be something like this, what he did with Fornals was he played him a little further up front, but he played him in a position so he could break up play further up front. Does that make sense? Let's have a look at Fornals' stats. Played the full 90 minutes, pass success rate 82.8%, 58 passes, and 3 key passes. But with Fornals as well, he broke up play more. He had a number of he had 1 interception and a couple of tackles as well thrown into the mix. And what Fornals was doing was he was breaking up play further up, which allowed Benrahma and Lingard to support Antonio further up. Clever. And I would never have considered Moyes thinking of doing anything like that. Like I said, kept thinking when we saw the team lineup, I thought, well, Fornals definitely alongside Souček, Lanzini further up in a 3 midfield alongside Lingard and Benrahma. So in that respect, that's why to me it was a bit of a shock. I mean, the fact that we actually saw this team being like, Antonio back, where did that come from? The fact that Benrahma and Lanzini and Fornals were all in the lineup alongside Lingard. And when you look at that, normally you would think to yourself, we lost Ogbonna. There's Dawson, Soufal, solid. Creswell was back. That's great. But you look at that and you think, not very solid, is it? And yet, how good were we in terms of being quite a solid formation, quite a solid team? Fornals did his bit, in breaking up play. Lanzini did his bit in spraying the ball around, etc. And the other good thing with this lineup was it meant that Antonio didn't have to go flying out to the wings to pick up the ball that we normally see him do, because that was left for the likes of Fornals to do, or Benrahma to do, or Lingard to do. They were the interchanging of those 3 was quite regular, and it meant that Antonio was told, "Don't do your hammers in, boy. Just stay in the middle of the park, in the middle of the pitch, and when the ball comes to you, just score." Well, he did twice. He didn't. What was that noise? Sorry about that. Got distracted by a little noise. He did that, apart from the goal that should have been. Where he kicked the ball on his right foot to his left foot and cleared it for Burnley. But let's forget about that. So to me, it was a midfield masterclass. It was something that we know Lanzini has done it before in previous games for previous managers as well. He's played in that deep role. But the way he utilised Fornals was clever. The way Moyes utilised Lanzini was clever. I think it maybe confused Burnley, because maybe even they expected Fornals to be sitting deeper. But the fact that you had a playmaker sitting deep and someone like Fornals, who normally we think about as a number 10, but actually played almost like a spoiler, a midfield spoiler, but slightly further up. It kind of worked. It meant that, for most of the game, I know the first 20 minutes or so, Burnley had the better of it and so on. But in general, it meant that, we had the better of the midfield because of the way we lined up. So great. Now we've got to mention Benrahma, but very briefly, because I think we'll do a special on him in the Daily tomorrow. Played 78 minutes. I know everyone was like, oh my God, the best player on the pitch. And he was subbed after 78 minutes. Pass success rate, 92.7%, 41 passes, 5 key passes and 1 assist. Now, there's been a notion that we don't like Benrahma on West Ham United. No such thing. When we talked about Benrahma in the past, we talked about the fact that, the way we were lining up, etc., it was difficult to see how Benrahma would get in the team. Now, who knew that David Moyes was going to throw this curveball by just throwing all our attacking players in one game? Quite unbelievable. So it's not that we're against Benrahma. It's like it's trying to think what's been going on in Moyes' mind. Now, he did great. Now, the fact that he was taken off after 78 minutes, I haven't got a problem with that. Benrahma's fasting. It's Ramadan for him. You could see that he had to break Ramadan by having a few liquids, etc. So it kind of made sense. And it keeps him fresh for the next game as well. So all fair play to him. He was excellent. And he was given the freedom, the irony. Again, the way that Souček, Fornals, Lanzini were sort of lined up, it gave Benrahma the ability to sort of play freely in the kind of role, I guess, that we normally expect Lingard to play. Lingard had a quiet game, but everybody else stepped up, so it kind of didn't matter. It did matter, but you know what I mean. It's like it didn't impact as much as if Benrahma had a poor game or if Lanzini had a poor game, etc. You maybe noticed Lingard having a quiet game, but because those two players and Fornals as well, you got to think about what we saw on Monday night was a midfield masterclass. They gelled well, they attacked well, they defended well. A lot of people talk about Fornals being a bit of a waste of space. I don't get that. I don't understand that. I think he's becoming an all-round midfielder. Like I said, he breaks up the play. He was put in there to break up the play, but to break it up further up the field, and he has a role to play. The one surprise, I guess, for me was that Bowen was on the subs bench. But, I think Anton or Matt made a point, we're not going to see Antonio playing the whole 90 minutes. So it makes sense to have Bowen on the pitch so he can replace Antonio. And yet, Antonio played the whole 90 minutes. But the difference being is, as I said earlier, Antonio didn't have to run around for the ball. He was just told, just stay in the middle, we'll get the ball to you, rather than you going to have to chase the ball. So all fair play to David Moyes. David Moyes pulled something out of the bag that I didn't think we would see this season. He went for it. It paid off. It was an excellent display and fantastic display from those three particular midfielders that I've mentioned: Lanzini, Fornals, and Benrahma. Will Lanzini be around for next season? Well, we're going into Europe. We are, without a shadow of a doubt, one more win and we will definitely finish 7th place at the worst. One more win. I still think Champions League is on, but I know I'm a dreamer and so on. But one more win means that we're in Europe. And if we're in Europe, we need that strength in depth. I really didn't give Lanzini a chance. But having looked at what happened against Burnley, there's a role for him to play. It's just a matter of whether David Moyes, wants to continue utilizing what we've got in the squad. And isn't it great looking at the players that we've got? And every time a player has been called upon, they've come in and they've done a job. And this one was Lanzini's turn. Lanzini has come and done job. Benrahma, absolutely. But Benrahma has had more chances throughout the season, whereas Lanzini, 3 starts, played an hour in each game. And out of the blue, he produces a performance like that. Long may it rain. Will he stay? I don't know. I don't know. I think time will tell. But certainly, strength. We need the strength in depth. So let's have a look at some comments. Pete Gads, hello mate. I hope you're well. What do you say, Lanzini? If he stays, great. We'll need depth for the European football. Absolutely. If he goes, a couple more performances like the last game, and his price tag will only go up. Well, yeah, and it's a win-win either way. I agree. I agree with that. I think it can only be good for Lanzini himself as well, to give him that confidence to demonstrate what he's still capable of. Now, Lanzini has still got a contract up to 2023, and there's an additional 2 years option on top of that. So, what could happen with Lanzini is we could keep him and give him another season. And David Moyes has still got the option to say, "You got another season, son. Let's see what you can continue to do." And if he doesn't, if he does pull up trees next season, then maybe Lanzini goes the following season. So it's looking like, quite possibly, if Lanzini's continue to be utilised the way he is, then great. Now we've got to remember, Declan is back. Probably for the Everton game, almost certainly for the Everton game. We were told he passed the late fitness test for the Burnley game. So it looks like he'll be available. So what happens then? Will we discuss this after the game? Will David Moyes put the same team out as he did against Everton as he did against Burnley? And the answer is a definite no. Declan, if he's fit, will be back in. But who will drop out for him? Fornals, Lanzini, Lingard, Souček, give him a rest, or Benrahma. There's choices there. I mean, after Lanzini's masterclass in midfield, you got to turn around and go. You can't drop him. But then you look at Fornals and you go, well, you can't drop him either. And then you look at what Benrahma did and you go, well, you can't drop him either. There's no damn way that Lingard's going to be dropped. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens when Declan comes back. James Bong, hello, mate. Well, there's the reply to all those saying we needed cover for Rice. Good point. Good point. And good afternoon to you, mate. Anton, I hope you're well. Hope you're getting over your cold instead of sniffling in front of all the viewers as you did yesterday. Bonnie Hammer, Lanzini played well, but remember this was Burnley. Also, most teams play 3 in the middle, whilst Burnley played 2. Rice and Souček are often outnumbered. Let's see how he gets on against a better midfield. Good shout, good shout. And it will be a tougher test against Everton without a shadow of a doubt. Now, actually, let's go back to that for a minute. I've talked about the way David Moyes deploys his players, and he almost does it in a kind of American football coaching way, where an American football manager, I know he's got like literally 2 teams playing a game, but you've got the defensive team and you've got the attacking team. But David Moyes kind of has the same sort of mentality, and I'll explain why. He looks at the team that we're playing against, and what Moyes looks like he does on occasion is he'll pick a team that he knows can play well against the opposition that he's up against, and that's why I don't think we're going to see the same team lining up against Everton at the weekend. Moyes will look at it and go, okay, I need something different here. I need a different type of player in midfield and a different type of player in attack or defense, etc. Now, Ogbonna, he's got a small knock. We think he's going to be back, and it looks like he'll be back straight in for Diop. But will Moyes play 3 at the back against Everton? There is that possibility, which completely changes the whole shape of the rest of the team. So I get that point, Bonnie, because it was against Burnley, but Burnley aren't no mugs, they're no pushovers. Good afternoon, Sean. Still buzzing? We all are, because we know Champions League is only just around the corner. Good afternoon, Stu77. Afternoon to you, mate. I know we're not getting excited, and I did try and explain it, but I don't know. Let's see. I do not think we'll see the same team coming out against Everton, without a doubt. Daniela, I hope you're well. Good afternoon. Alens, how are you? I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Just looking at the time because I don't want to be late because I am. It is my lunch hour. Anton, absolutely, but in a deeper role, I can see a future for him. Yeah, quite possibly. As I said, he's still got a contract for 2 more years, another 2-year extension on top of that. So Moyes might go, you know what? Is that the Wanderers 1872 away shirt? Cheeky git. So it's quite possible that Lanzini will stay. Ken, afternoon still. Lanzini playing in that deep lying role, midfield space. He's got everything in front of him. Could save us 4 million. He was majestic on Monday. He's got all the pictures going. Absolutely, mate. You know, and great. I was really pleased for Lanzini. I've always liked Lanzini. I felt sorry for him, but I felt that his time was up. John Hicks, we have got to keep Lanzini. Bonnie, I do think Lanzini should be above Noble. I actually agree there. I do. When it comes to centre midfield, he can do the same and more, but would need a Souček or Rice next to him. Absolutely agree. Lanzini next to Fornals in midfield, for example, wouldn't work. We'd get ripped apart. But next to a Souček or next to a Declan, yeah, absolutely. But it's interesting why Moyes hasn't done that sooner when Declan was out injured. Daniela, just watched the highlights and that performance reminded me of Brooking, Devonshire days, the team of Lampard, Joe Cole, Di Canio, Sinclair days. It was a great performance. I mean, the way we passed the ball around, Daniela, was just incredible, wasn't it? Gary, Lanzini playing there suits him. Absolutely. Gary, I'm very well, thank you, and I hope you're well too. Steve, WHU Bell, there were people saying that Manu and Belly couldn't play in the same team. I was saying that, and that's out the window. Happy days. Yeah. And I was also saying you'll never see Ben Rama and Lingard on this pitch at the same time. David Moyes just proved us all wrong, didn't he? Vegeta, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Gary, we've got so many formations now. Brilliant. And that's why I'm alluding to David Moyes acting in a kind of an American football type coaching way, that he kind of picks a different formation, different players to play against the team that he's up against. Anton Moyes working his magic again. Vegeta, if Chelsea lose, next dreams come true. You know, Chelsea have got tough games coming up, and we've got 4 very winnable games. Very winnable. I hope I touch wood. Mark Ratchford, hello, mate. Hi, everyone. Still buzzing. Great performance by the team. Absolutely. Anton, Chelsea's goal difference like an extra point. It is, but they've got to win the games, haven't they? If they lose the game and we win, it sort of swings and roundabouts. Let's see. Fornals found it hard at first, but he's getting better and better. I think Fornals is very underrated. Father Snowman, hello, mate. Question for you. If Moyes gets us into the Champions League, will he go down as one of the greatest managers in our history? I know we had not won anything with him. Good question. Well, he will certainly be on his way to it, won't he? Now, I know what people are going to think. We're getting the Champions League and we're going to get mullered and we're not going to get the money to strengthen the squad and all that sort of stuff. Getting in the Champions League for West Ham United is a major achievement. No? I mean, people, this time last season, we were fighting relegation. I think we were only just starting to pull out of it this time last season. And now we are talking about on the cusp of Champions League football. I mean, I'm still laughing about it because I still can't believe it myself. Steve, totally agree about Fornals. Workhorse never stops running. Absolutely agree. Ken, we were solid in another way as a team because we kept the ball and won it back early. Very, very true. But we needed players to break them down. So Souček was doing it deep, and Fornals was doing it further up the field. That's what that was a little bit of a masterclass for me. It was like, wow, that an interesting way of forming an interesting formation. Please hit the thumbs up and all that sort of gumph. Yeah, Daniel, a goal difference of 1 is like an extra point at the end of the day. It kind of is. Well, it's not 1, is it? I think Chelsea have got a much better goal difference than us. Benny had a blinder. Absolutely, Stu. Glenn Marshall, I think we should play the same formation against Everton. Let's attack and scare these teams. I think being a little bit open against Everton might hurt us. They've got a lot of, got a lot of attacking players. But certainly what Kemp said about keeping the ball, winning it early and all that sort of stuff, certainly we have to do that against Everton. Gary, yeah, I agree. Let's go out and attack the last 4 games. Absolutely. Glenn, plus I didn't feel nervous. And ironically, neither did I. They got the penalty and I just went, oh, well, there you go. And then I didn't expect to score so quickly back, but brilliant. Mark, Lingard's pass to Soufal set up our first goal for Antonio. Absolutely did. I'm jumping because I need to get back to work. Kent, Benrahma was given freedom to interchange positions on Monday in almost a free role and not giving him too many defensive duties to do. That's how you get the best out of him. He needs to be allowed to do that. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Vegeta, Saeed Benrahma has a lack of confidence. I hope he will get a goal. It would be good for him. But I think his confidence must have been flying after that performance on Monday, Vegeta. Charlie boy, hello, mate. Thanks for joining. Fornals had the most passes in the final third. Good point. 27. Really good point. Glenn Marshall, in my time, no one will ever top John Lyall. Some amazing footballing players. Agreed, mate. Absolutely agreed. But, I'll tell you what, David Moyes has won an awful lot of us over, hasn't he? Toby, hello, you beauties. Declan, who? I'm jumping a few, so please forgive me if I do. I felt for Lanzini when he was dropped against Spurs. Well, I didn't, Gary. I just, it was a great goal. I thought maybe Lanzini would get a bit more game time, and he has been on as a sub a few times. But yeah, I kind of thought that maybe Lanzini would be utilised more as a sub. But to start, I certainly didn't think that. Daniela, I think Lingard showed he was a team player that knows want to take one step back and be a support player. Like the saying goes, not everyone can play the lead violin. Good point. And I think, isn't it good that we now are talking about Fornals, Benrahma, Lanzini, instead of going, oh my God, Lingard, if he doesn't play well, we're doomed. It's fantastic to be in that position at the final stages. I mean, Moyes, we keep talking about so-and-so's injured and so-and-so's injured and that player's injured. Oh my God, it's doom and gloom. We're gonna fall outside the top 7. We're gonna end up finishing 8th or 10th or whatever. And then these players come in, and now all of a sudden they're playing. I mean, it's such a bond, isn't it? And I'm not seeing that for such a long time. We keep talking about the 15-16 season, but and I said it before, we were more or less relying on one player. It was Dimitri Payet. It was the Dimitri Payet show. Whereas this team, it's like one out, someone in. Declan. Oh my God, Declan's injured. That's it. Finished. The season's over. Look how we performed. It's just unbelievable. I mean, Barry in the Philippines, I believe defense should be given a lot more praise. I agree with you, mate. A lot of people were slagging off Diop, and he didn't have the best of games. But I'll tell you something, he improved. He got better and better and better as the game wore on. Was he at fault for the first? Yeah, he shouldn't have let it bounce, but absolutely. Toby, Vegeta, did you see Thierry kissing Antonio's derriere? Oops, where did that go? Bonnie, Rice is our best player. I agree. I mean, absolutely. He's fit. He plays without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, let me ask you guys a question while I finish off the show. Declan comes back for the next game. Out of the lineup that started against Burnley, who do you drop for Declan? I want to see what your answers are going to be. Glenn, Lingard's winning habits will be very good for the team. It's rubbed off, hasn't it? But let's not forget, we were winning before Lingard turned up. Let's not forget. Vegeta, Stel, do you think Moyes must put the same strategy against Everton? No, I actually don't. I think we've got to be a bit more careful because they've got a lot of attacking players. And I actually think he might. It depends on who's available, certainly in defence. But no, I don't think he'll go for the same formation. I don't think he'll go for the same lineup, to be honest. But we shouldn't be disappointed at that. Like I said earlier, Moyes will play a kind of game where he'll go, this is the best lineup and this is the best formation to win against Everton. That's what I think. So I'll tell you what, I'll be very, very surprised if it is the same lineup and same formation, but I doubt it's going to be that. Sean, Everton walked through our raging midfield in the Carabao Cup and were most dangerous using the same tactics at their gaff in the lead. Pete Gads, Everton has more midfield threats than Burnley. I'm sure Moyes will want a more defensive-minded midfield. I kind of think the same as well. Toby, Novas and Sky Sports saying how amazing Antonio was. Good. Brilliant. Antonio in the Champions League, people. Get it in your heads. Picture it now. Antonio up against, I don't know, the Real Madrid defense. Picture it now, where Antonio just barges his way through and scores the winning goal at the Bernabeu. Picture it now. I mean, I still look at me. I can't stop laughing about it because I don't think these European teams are going to know what the hell hit them when Antonio smashes his way through the defenses in the Champions League. It's going to be mad. Gary, going to be interesting to see how City game goes on Saturday. Who are they playing? Is it? I don't remember. And congrats to Man City for getting in the Champions League final. Vegeta, still so many good players around Paris outskirts. Come to see. Invite us and we'll be there, Vegeta. Nasser Miludi, if Man City get the Champions League trophy, do West Ham still get the Champions League spot even fifth? Yes. Any team that finishes in the top four and still win the Champions League, the fifth place will still get it. Yes. Yes. Am I right, people? Tell me if I'm wrong. I think fifth might still get Champions League. Yes. Simon Rogers, Moyes, best manager since the start of the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt. Let's jump because Vegeta, I offer you Embassy West Ham in Paris. Is that an invite? Are we going to stay at the embassy in Paris, Vegeta? Kenneth, how are you, mate? Long time. I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're well. We come so far. Let's take the next steps. Champions League. Absolutely. Barry, it's a team game and defence deserve more praise. Absolutely agree. Liam Fitzgerald, hello, mate. It's a new name, so thanks for joining. Lanzini, when he plays, always wants to come deep to get the ball, but was always played further forward. Good point. Monday night was perfect for them without the two other centre midfields getting in the way. Absolutely. That's a really good point. Yeah. And we've seen it, as I said earlier in the show, we've seen him do it quite a few times. Do forgive me. Lovro, what is with Oggy? He got a knock. But we'll catch up on injuries later in the week when we know more. I think he might be back for the Everton game. Rob's projector wall, holding back my views on Moyes until the team selection against Everton. Do not be surprised about the team selection if it's more defensive minded. I kind of almost expect it. West Ham fan TV legendary Pixel, the opt for Rice. Interesting. What? So play Rice at the back? I don't think that'll happen, but that's an interesting approach. Dan B reckons fifth place does not get Champions League. I think if City win the Champions League and they finish in the top four, I think it does go down to fifth place. But we'll check on it. I'm pretty sure that that's the situation. Daniela, it depends on fitness, but maybe if Rice is on the bench, so we rest not one of the team players. I think if Rice is fit, he'll play. Sean, I read the rules that fifth would, but alas, fifth would not be good enough for Champions League. I don't know. I'll tell you what, we'll check on it. I think fourth place still, not fifth. I know normally it's the top four places, but I think if City win the Champions League, I think we then get another place. But I will double check. And we'll let you know, probably in the show tomorrow. Mark, best scenario for West Ham, Man City win the Champions League. That's what I'm thinking. Daniela, City v Chelsea, and no to fifth gets Champions League if City win. So you guys, you're telling me different things. I thought I read, and I read it on the I think in the qualifications page. I think fifth does get Champions League. If City win the Champions League. Mark Ratchford, Man City win Champions League, Man United win Europa League, good for West Ham and fifth place. That's exactly what I'm thinking. But, let's go down right to the bottom. Charlie Boy still, they will be surprised at the lineup and throw a fit. Absolutely. Right, that's me done. Thank you for joining, as usual. We'll be back with the West Ham Daily tomorrow. Anton is probably, is sniffling and might not make it, bloody cheek. So it might be me again. I might talk about Well, let's see what I talk about tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. I've got to go. Much appreciated. Love all the comments, etc., etc., and see you later.